Welcome to the orientation of your Employee Assistance Program, also known as an EAP. As a manager, you want your employees to be productive and healthy. We can help with that goal. You realize that your area of expertise isn't dealing with employees' personal problems. You are best at making sure your people get the job done right and get it done on time. As your EAP, we're here to help you handle workplace performance problems that may stem from personal issues. The EAP addresses a wide range of issues, not just drug or alcohol problems. For a quick look at what we offer, you can watch the EAP orientation for employees. Most of the workplace performance problems you encounter come from just a few employees. For example, do you have any employees like Yolanda? Yolanda used to be so efficient and quick with her work. You considered her one of your best employees. But something has changed. Now you see her sitting at her desk all morning, visibly stressed. You can tell she's having a hard time concentrating, and you really want to help her get back on track. Or how about John? John had back surgery last year and was out of work for a few months. But since he returned, you can tell he's struggling. You stopped relying on him like you used to. He disappears for hours at a time and tells no one where he's going. Other employees have said they smell alcohol on his breath when he comes back from lunch. So how are you supposed to handle situations like those with Yolanda or John? That's where we come in. In this video, we're going to walk you through several steps you can take to help your employees get back to being productive at work. Let's get started. First, when you see a problem, you need to ask yourself if the employee's behavior is impacting his or her work performance. If it's not, you can suggest the employee call us. This suggested referral, or self-referral, is when the employee contacts us proactively. Give the employee our phone number and tell him or her what to expect when calling. You can also reference the employee EAP orientation video. If the employee's behavior is impacting the work environment, there are signs that indicate you'll need a formal referral process. First, look at the employee's attendance patterns. Does the employee come in late? Leave early? Take long lunches? Maybe he or she will miss several days without giving you much or any notice. Or does your employee make elaborate excuses about coming in late or being absent? If these are happening, then your employee has a problem you need to address. A second area to monitor is the employee's quality of work. Does the employee have more difficulties but no real change in workload? Is he or she missing deadlines that were never a problem before? Or is your employee frequently making errors? Do you see the employee causing accidents like personal or property damage when he or she is on the job? You may even hear about these accidents happening off the job. A third area you need to look at is the employee's behavior. Is the employee frequently on the phone, making personal calls? Do you hear the employee blaming others for his or her own deficiencies in work performance? Does the employee lie to you and say that he or she will do a task only for you to find out later it never happened? Also look to see if the employee constantly complains, overreacts to minor issues, or acts defensively when you or someone else gives feedback or constructive criticism. Also, does the employee seem inattentive? Or maybe the employee avoids others and seems isolated. Maybe you've noticed a change in personal appearance, like he or she has neglected simple hygiene. It also might be wise to consider what coworkers are saying about the employee. Do they talk about how the person makes offensive or inappropriate comments? That the person acts disrespectfully? Or maybe they say the employee is frequently moody and unpredictable. You may have heard of times when the employee acted aggressively toward a customer or a coworker. These are all situations you should take into account when making a formal workplace referral. Now that you've noticed a problem that is impacting the work environment, you need to make a formal referral. Before you sit down with the employee, please call the EAP and let us know you'll be making a formal workplace referral. Our number is 800-790-5770. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you call us, you'll talk with one of our risk managers. The risk manager will give you some advice on how to handle the employee referral process. The risk manager will also guide you through some paperwork that you need to complete and send to us. The risk manager will want to talk with you about your observations and expectations for improvement. What changes do you require from the employee before you consider his or her work performance acceptable? Even if the employee doesn't contact the EAP, you still need to explain what needs to change in the work performance. You'll also talk about any consequences the employee may have to face if the work performance problems continue. With this information, the risk manager will be able to walk you through how to make the workplace referral. Now for the formal referral. First, invite the employee into your office or another private room. Tell the employee you are making a referral to the EAP. Be direct and specific. Tell the employee you have contacted us and we are ready for the employee to call. Tell the employee you've documented his or her work performance problems with the EAP. This is when you can give the employee copies of certain documents you've submitted to us. One of those documents is called a corrective letter. For help on writing a corrective letter, please talk to one of our risk managers. Be sure to tell the employee that the EAP is confidential. The EAP will not share any personal information with you, the employee's coworkers, or other managers. The only information you will know is whether the employee called the EAP, attended appointments, or followed through with the EAP's recommendations for improvement. Let the employee know that, in most instances, if he or she doesn't participate, there can be no repercussions from management. The employee cannot be overlooked for future promotions and cannot be laid off solely for not contacting the EAP. But also let the employee know that he or she will be subject to disciplinary or other action if the work performance problems continue. Talk with your Human Resources Department to make sure you follow your company policies regarding disciplinary action. One exception to this is a condition of continued employment referral. If you have exhausted all avenues to resolve the problem, the employee could be terminated based on performance. After giving the employee all that information, you'll need to ask the employee to accept the referral. If the employee accepts, you will have him or her sign a release form. You should have received this form after you called us. The form will include the name of the risk manager the employee should contact, along with a deadline for making contact. Then, ask the employee to call the EAP. Give the employee our phone number, which is 800-790-5770. Tell the employee he or she can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If the employee is unfamiliar with us, point them to the employee orientation video or provide him or her with a brochure. You'll also want to schedule a follow-up interview. Make sure you set a date, time, and place for you two to meet again. We recommend setting up several interviews in the near future, as this gives the situation a sense of urgency. The employee will realize there is a certain deadline when his or her work performance needs to meet your company's criteria. Here are some tips to follow when you make the formal workplace referral. Make sure you focus on job performance, not on the person's reputation or character. Do not discuss personal issues. Your job is not to be a counselor or therapist to the employee. When communicating with the employee, it may be difficult to separate your feelings from your professional relationship. Keep in mind that behaviors need to change or performance needs to improve, and an EAP referral is the best option right now. Be hopeful, not discouraging. You want to instill hope and give the employee a positive outlook on his or her future with the company. Act in a way that shows you believe that the employee, with the right help, can turn this difficult life situation into a positive result. Be supportive, not angry. Coach the employee to see this opportunity with the EAP as the right decision. Emphasize that you and the EAP are here for support throughout the process. Once you've referred the employee to the EAP, the employee will respond in one of three ways. The employee will either attend the EAP appointment, skip the appointment, or reject your referral altogether. If the employee attends the appointment, then hopefully his or her performance will improve. In some instances, the EAP won't be able to help the employee. If this is the case, we will point you and the employee to the right people or resources. Not all employees accept advice and direction from the EAP. So if the employee doesn't follow through with our recommendations and rejects our help, we'll let you know. You should continue to document and observe if the employee skips the appointment or rejects the referral. Let's take a closer look at what you should do during the document and observe stage. What should you document? Everything. Document the attendance problems. Document the work quality and behavior problems. Document the discussion you had and your expectations for improvement. Document any other encounters you have with the employee. Document the next steps. Don't forget to record the employee's positive behavior too. This may help keep the employee from becoming completely overwhelmed and feeling discouraged. Be careful not to use emotional or subjective language. When you document, just describe the employee's behavior. Don't interpret or judge the behavior. For example, if the employee is missing meetings, instead of saying, "The employee hates meetings and doesn't like being a team player," it is better to say, "The employee missed 3 meetings last week and didn't notify anyone." Documenting is an important step in the process. If you don't write it down, then nobody knows it happened. This is especially critical when it comes to legal matters. We also recommend giving a copy of any documents you create to the employee. This will help motivate the employee to return to successful work performance. During the follow-up interviews, talk about the employee's current job performance. Is it improving, staying the same, or getting worse? Commend the employee for any positive changes he or she is making. Specify what other changes the employee needs to make to return to acceptable job performance. It bears repeating. During the document and observe stage, document everything. Document what you observe. Document any changes you see. And document any interactions you have with the employee. Remember, if you don't document it, from a legal perspective, it didn't happen. As you document and observe, you will see the employee respond in one of 2 ways. Either the employee will continue the work performance problems, or will improve his or her work performance. If the problems continue, you will have to either make an ultimatum or take disciplinary action. To make an ultimatum means you will give the employee one last chance to contact the EAP and resolve these work performance issues, or you may have to take disciplinary action at this point. Talk with your Human Resources Department to make sure you follow your company policies regarding disciplinary action. We've now covered all the steps involved in dealing with job performance issues with one of your employees. Again, if you ever need to ask us a question, give us a call at 800-790-5770. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We look forward to serving you.